So once again, infused drinks are caught in the crossfire as lawmakers across multiple states consider bills to either limit the sale of these drinks to liquor stores or just ban them outright. But either way, they're kicking small businesses and mom and pop shops to the curb and banishing them from a market that they helped to create in the first place.
At the bar, cannabis-infused drinks can no longer be sold at bars and restaurants as of June 1st. The General Assembly passing a law regulating THC beverages in the state of Kentucky. Now you can only buy boxes of the product at liquor stores. Our Alexandra Goldberg shows us how the law will change bar menus across the state.
Cornbread Hemp's THC seltzers are getting ready for shipping at the facility on Schuff Avenue. But as of Sunday, bars and restaurants won't be able to accept them.
It's not often that we get a right taken away from us, but on June 1st, that's what happened in Kentucky.
Co-founder Jim Higdon says Senate Bill 202 banned the sale of cannabis-infused drinks by the can at bars and restaurants all across Kentucky. That means you can only buy them by the box at liquor stores.
In my opinion, it's a health issue and it's a safety issue.
State Senator Julie Rocky Adams of Louisville says the bill is regulatory.
We were hearing reports of children getting their hands on them. They were being sold in places that did not traditionally sell intoxicating products. And so we really needed to wrap our arms around it and put some guardrails on this cannabis-infused beverage.
Higdon says selling these cans at bars and restaurants represent 30% of the adult beverage market.
It's a segment that our customers and consumers and Kentucky citizens have come to take for granted that has now been taken away.
But Rocky Adams says opinions about the drinks from bar owners were a mixed bag.
They didn't know what the effect was if someone consumed alcoholic beverages and then consumed a THC-infused beverage. And so a lot of bars and restaurants were concerned about the liability.
Higdon says the THC drinks are an alternative to alcohol.
These beverages give them something to drink that prevents them from being tempted to drink alcohol if they've had trouble with alcohol in the past.
His products were mainly in the Germantown neighborhood, bars along Goss Avenue, and he says his clientele wants to see them stay.
THC beverages have been a key component in that non-alcoholic offering that's now been taken away.
Now, some bars must take the THC off their menus. In Louisville, Alexandra Goldberg, WHAS 11 on your side.
So you guys can see how crazy that is. They love alcohol, but they do not take the time to actually study the effects of some of these THC-infused beverages. Now, me personally, I've drank THC-infused drinks and I've not had much of an effect, but I have drank a lot of alcohol and I have gone batshit crazy and done some stuff that I deeply regret. But put that to one side. You guys heard what she said herself. They're not sure what the effects would be if someone has a regular drink than an infused beverage. And you guys also heard him say it gets into the hands of kids. But think about it. Kids have been getting their hands on alcohol for centuries. It's been happening for such a long time. But does that mean that you ban all the alcohol? Does not mean that, but what they love is regulation and putting up guardrails, and that's exactly what's happening over in Delaware, because this Delaware bill will limit the THC beverage sales to liquor stores and close out any existing hemp retailers. Now the problem that I have with this, guys, is that big alcohol is now getting involved in the mix. All of these liquor stores that sell alcohol are getting involved in the mix, and a lot of people who actually consume the good herb do not like to go to alcohol stores to get their herb. That's not everyone, and if you really think about it, a lot of people consider the good herb to be medicinal. A lot of people do not consider alcohol to be medicinal. But let me know what you guys think about that. Drop it in the comments down below. I'm really interested to find out what you guys got to say. And just a quick reminder, if you're getting value from this video, please do like, share, and subscribe to the channel. And if you want to support us further, join the ICANN VIP Bean Club or just buy us a cup of coffee. Now, according to this article, the Delaware bill that will limit the THC beverage sales to liquor stores is effectively going to shut out all these small businesses out of a market that they helped to create in the first place. Now, what I found pretty interesting about this is that a rift has emerged between the alcohol industry and hemp store operators as each lobbies lawmakers over a pair of state bills that they say could either make or break their respective businesses. Originally introduced as one sweeping measure, the bill has now been split into two, one regulating the infused beverages and a second that would govern edibles such as gummies, smokable flower tinctures, and oils. What was once available only on the illicit market 2 decades ago is now increasingly a part of our daily lives, available in corner stores, liquor stores, and even on bar menus. Now, what this bill means over in Delaware is that the infused drinks must be funneled through one of the state's 22 licensed liquor distributors, tested by either the state's public health lab or an authorized testing facility, and sold exclusively in liquor stores. So when you go to get your infused beverages, you gotta grab it next to the spirits, next to the whiskey, next to the vodka, and that's pretty crazy. But when it comes to the gummies, those sales will be limited to licensed retailers. So this right here is specifically about the infused beverages. Those are what's going to be sold at liquor stores under this bill in Delaware. Now, there's similar bills being proposed across different states, so let's hop over to Arizona because there's controversy about the bill that's being proposed over there.
Concern about these THC beverages and where they're sold. Under state law, they're only supposed to be available at dispensaries. But as Arizona's family has reported, they've been spotted at corner stores and liquor stores. Senate Bill 1556 would have addressed this. Under it, THC drinks, or what they refer to as adult hemp beverages, would be regulated like alcohol. Supporters say it would reflect the evolving market. But earlier today, members of law enforcement came together to express their opposition. They say the bill would make these drinks more widely available and ultimately make us all less safe. They argue Prop 207, which legalized pot, addressed products like this. Here's what they had to say.
This is not well thought out, it is not well drafted, and currently this practice is against the law.
This is what happens when the laws are not enforced.
Now, the president of the Arizona Sheriff's Association, David Rhodes, says this is an enforcement issue, not an issue state lawmakers need to address. When I reached out to State Senator TJ Shope, the sponsor of the bill, for his response, he wrote back, "The bill is dead, so I'm not sure if we need to go through the motions of an interview."
So that just goes to show a lot of the controversy that surrounds some of these infused beverages, not just by the people, the businesses, but also the lawmakers. Some of those lawmakers, again, they have no idea about the products that they're making laws on. But also, they cite a lot of health impacts. So let's hear what they have to say about some of these health impacts.
Now. And thanks for sticking with us here at 7:30. You know, there was a time not that long ago when a lot of us couldn't wait to turn legal. You could get beer or wine at the grocery store, a bar, or a restaurant. Well, things have changed.
I mean, you've got young kids. We were talking before we started rolling the camera, like that generation is different than you and I when we were growing up. They don't drink as much as people did 10 years ago, 15 years ago. And we're having to adjust for that, focus on non-alcoholics. We have in the cooler right behind you.
That's not something you would have even dreamed of 10 years ago, right?
That's not something we dreamed of 2 years ago.
And that's something we mentioned on the channel quite a few times in the past. Big alcohol is losing tons of money because a lot of these younger generations are simply not drinking as much liquor. But on the flip side, they're actually consuming a lot more herbs. So the alcohol industry is trying to figure out, hey, how can I get in on the cannabis industry and get some of those sales for myself? Because right now, they're just eating into my profits.
One big thing we've really focused on is the education piece. What they're consuming, what their options are, the different...
Yeah, as you heard there from Jacob Virgil, the breweries there like Noda have had to adjust in an effort to keep people coming in because young people aren't drinking alcohol like previous generations. One of the hot new trends are drinks infused with THC. That is the psychoactive chemical in cannabis that causes a high. And sales, they have taken off. Resident Culture Brewery here in Charlotte says THC drinks now make up about 20% of their sales. But as we told you last night in our cover story, there aren't a lot of rules with these. Breweries are really just finding themselves self-policing.
One big thing we've really focused on is the education piece. What they're consuming, what their options are, the different dosages. We treat it exactly like alcohol. It's a psychoactive, beverage, just like alcohol. And, we ID everybody. It's always 21 and up.
Now, a bill is moving through the North Carolina Senate that would put some guardrails on these THC drinks. But as that happens, we were wondering, and as a parent you might be as well, why are these drinks even legal in a state where recreational cannabis is not? It can get a little confusing. Do our best here to give you a simplified explanation. A federally passed farm bill made hemp products, a form of cannabis, legal, as long as its THC level, its Delta 9, is less than 0.3%. At that level, it has no meaningful psychoactive effect on the body.
And what people don't realize, including most probably legislators, is that THCA is exactly identical to Delta 9. It's the parent molecule. And all you need to do is heat that molecule and it immediately converts to the illegal substance.
Chris Smith is an assistant professor in the School of Nursing at UNC Charlotte. He says if you are consuming a THC drink, it is important to know exactly what it was infused with.
And it's important that the person drinking the beverage understand what type of THC is in there. Because if you pick up one beverage that is mostly THCA and therefore not terribly psychoactive, that experience will differ wildly from if you pick up a beverage that is infused with Delta 8 THC.
Also important to know the impacts of how you feel after drinking a THC-infused drink can vary, depending on your tolerance, how much you take in, and your medical condition.
For most adults, using THC in moderation is generally well tolerated and considered safe. But I think, as with any substance, overconsumption can lead to negative side effects such as anxiety, dizziness, impaired cognition, and impaired motor skills. But then I'd also point out that people with certain health conditions or who are taking certain medications, especially in the psychiatric and cardiovascular realms, they need to be especially cautious, and they should consider consulting their healthcare provider before consuming THC in any form.
So a lot of what they said there seems to me to apply to pretty much any product out there. You can drink too much alcohol, you can find yourself in trouble. You can eat too much chocolate, get diabetes. Too much butter, oil, fats, and cholesterol, you can get, well, high cholesterol. So it seems to me that a lot of those possible health impacts are not really possible health impacts at all, but rather just things that you need to be aware of. And that clip that I just showed you guys was literally titled Possible Health Impacts of THC-Infused Drinks. And in that clip, I've not heard one single medical negative that you guys need to be aware of. Probably why a lot of these infused beverages are literally flying off the shelves in Wisconsin because people are buying them up.
While marijuana is legal in Wisconsin, you can get the same effects in a THC drink, and it's perfectly legal.
They are flying off the store shelves from your neighborhood bar and liquor store to Quick Trip and Woodman's. 12 News' Nick Bohr investigates why those drinks are legal and who is buying them.
At first glance, it looks just like another section of beer or canned alcohol cocktails at the liquor store. But look a little closer, and what's inside makes them quite different. They're drinks infused with Delta 9 THC, the same intoxicating substance in marijuana.
We were raised for so long, many of us, that, this was an off limits, this was a drug, and alcohol was a socially acceptable. But the thing is that's changed even in Wisconsin.
12 News contributor Molly Snyder has done a series of articles for OnMilwaukee.com on the new THC drinks, now available not only at liquor stores, but bars, grocery stores, and even coffee shops.
They're very light. They make you just feel very relaxed. And some people identify this feeling because it's new and it's different and it's not like being drunk.
The drinks vary in potency, starting at 2.5 milligrams of THC per can, going up to 50 milligrams and higher. One example of the growing popularity of the THC drinks here at Otto's Wine and Spirits in Cedarburg. They began selling the drinks last summer, and last month gave them their own section. This all stems from the 2018 federal farm bill.
That's something that a lot of people can resonate with. A lot of people consume the good herb for relaxation purposes, to deal with anxiety, stress, or pain management, not to get charged up, to get drunk, and go ravaging all over town. So the fact that she said a lot of people use it for calming reasons is fantastic to hear. But let me know what you guys think about all that. What do you guys think about these infused beverages? Should they be regulated, banned, or just not touched at all? Drop it in the comments and let me know. And you guys may have missed this, but there are a bunch of mothers that are coming together to call for all these infused products to be banned. If you haven't checked it out, have a look. It's pretty crazy and it's coming up right now.